Let's do 3 ohms. Okay, you can go ahead and unmute. Okay, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining us today. Hopefully more people will show up here. So one thing I wanted to mention, if you haven't heard, we're doing the classes for the kids starting tomorrow. We've got over 30 kids signed up, and 3 to 6-year-olds, and it's going to be Monday, Wednesdays, and Saturdays, 10 to 11 Pacific time. If you know any kids, you can still jump in. So today we're going to go over dementia, and then anger, and sleep. Let's start with dementia. As we normally do, let me share my screen here. Oh, since we only have a few people, let's have you guys tell us about yourself. So, Britta, tell us about yourself.
I've been at one of your very interesting discussions before. I have no idea how I got onto your circle. I've used lockdown to branch into becoming a gong practitioner, and the whole sound journey has evolved from there, and it's been a fantastic opportunity to have finally the time in my life to also do other things. And today, dementia is of great interest to me because my mom has been diagnosed 3 years ago with dementia, and I can see the very rapid decline in her, and not having been able to travel to Europe, I could only sort of watch from afar. Finally, I'll be going next week, which is great. And obviously, there's ways I like to explore of how I can support her differently. And maybe just to mention, my sister has a ballet background, and my mom was a ballet dancer. And while speech is sort of like becoming very difficult for her, and expressing herself and having conversations with us, and we can see her frustration with that. What has, I think, really supported her now is my sister taking her into the ballet studio and just do very easy exercises with her, and then a lot of improvisation, obviously with music that she likes and also from the past. And I think it's this way of, like, when you can't speak anymore, but expressing suddenly.
Excellent, excellent.
And I've been also with Jill Bruce doing some overtoning workshops. And again, what became quite clear to me there, again, just having a sound, and maybe also just letting out some emotions via the voice, is our own best tool or instrument. And this is what I want to explain, what I want to explore with my mom while I'm there, to see how she might be reacting to, just making sounds as a form of expression. So
Perfect, perfect, excellent. Okay, Gretchen, tell us about yourself.
Hi there, I'm Gretchen, and I am in Southern California, and I am a 15-year colon hydrotherapist, connecting body, mind, and emotion during my treatments, and recently got into sound healing, and I currently have the Metatronics device helping to heal people with sound, frequency, and light therapy.
What does it do?
Um, So it has the light, which is the color of the chakras, and then it has little pads that have sound and frequency come out.
Cool. Okay, Eleonora, would you like to tell us about yourself?
Hello.
Hey.
Hi, David. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, I am in Wales. I have been with you a long time now. I am a retired dentist and I am also acupuncturist in the Chinese traditional medicine. And I have been interested in hearing about another kind of treatment actually in mental health. Because of the problem with my family and the problem with the psychiatrist as well as psychiatrist treatment. No, about dementia, that has been dementia in my family. So I would like actually have to the music to the acupuncture treatment as well to Tai Chi and as well laser acupuncture. So I'm very happy that I come in the contact with you. I have been from start and I learn a lot.
Cool. Welcome, welcome. Did you say you're in Wales?
Yeah, in Wales, yeah. I am working in Wales and I'm trying to improve the mental health as well. I am thinking maybe to start the music charity. I am not so good. I don't play any instrument. I like to dance, but my son is playing and that is the way I want to help him to come out from the psychiatric treatment.
Cool. Excellent. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
So if you're new here, what we do is we go through all the different components here one by one. So if you have ideas, wait till we get to that section. So first we're going to go through information about the issue and then the approach, the conceptual framework as to how it's approached, and then a little bit of safety guidelines, maybe intake questions, and then the sound treatments will be later, and then any other treatments besides sound, and then any homework. Okay. So for dementia, we've all of these we've had students creating treatment plans over 10 years, and we also are now starting to work with one of the largest dementia companies in Northern California and Calabria. And we've met with them quite a few times, and everybody in the company is like over the top excited about what we're doing. So we've put together a very detailed treatment plan for dementia. So I'm going to be sharing a lot of that, and then we can add in any new ideas, right? The main aspect of dementia is there's multiple stages, and they're treated differently, quite differently actually, depending on whether it's early stages or later stages. I mean, there are different types of Alzheimer's that you could get into, and there might be a little bit different treatments, but we're not going to get that detailed about it, right? Because it's mostly memory decline, changes in behavior, could be aggression, unrest, hide and collect stuff, fading or decency standards, fading of decency, and changes in mood, but the earlier stages are the basic focus is, well, let me go through it. So here's some interesting causes: lack of education, although I don't know if that would be a cause or just happens to be people have less money and don't get enough treatments. Midlife hypertension, midlife obesity, hearing loss, late life depression, diabetes, physical inactivity. I think not only physical inactivity, but brain inactivity, right? I mean, that's a well-known one. Smoking and social isolation. Um, there's some interesting things here about treatments. Make real contact. It's often increasingly difficult with dementia to process information. They can only focus on one message at a time. That's why it's good to ensure eye contact, speak in calm, friendly tone, and listen carefully. Try to connect and just slow down, really, more than anything. Do not add falsehoods. Positive approach. As much freedom. Do not try to patronize. It can sometimes cause unwanted irritation. So it's better to lead their own lives and no judgment. Help someone get started. And instead of asking, do you remember who I am? Just say, oh, I'm so and so, I'm your daughter, right? Instead of asking questions that might be hard to answer. Right. Oh, here's some interesting things to never say. Don't tell them they're wrong about something. Don't argue with them. Don't remind them of a loved one that died. Don't ask them if they remember something. Don't bring up topics that will upset them. Then we have our intake questions. When did it start? And these questions may be for their caretaker as much as them, right? So there may not be very many questions that you're going to be asking, to see. But it is nice to know what medications they're on, and if there's anything that helps already, right? It's the big ones. The basic the two differences are level one is where it's just beginning stages. And at that level, it's all about activating and energizing and movement, anything that is activating to get more blood flowing to the brain, right? Whereas in later stages, they can be quite irritable. And so it might be more about calming. But of course, the main thing is to watch like a hawk. Watch really closely whatever you're doing to see if it's working or not, right? Because what you might do one day may not work another day, right? So what we put together is for level one. If you have any ideas, feel free to jump in here as I go through this as well. Right? So the first stage of early stage is all about finding music and sounds they like, right? And it's really a detailed tracking. So you want to keep really good notes if you're going to test a lot of different things. The first one that's obvious that you probably all know about is playing their favorite music, right? Music they love. I mean, the movie Alive Inside. You guys seen Alive Inside? Oh, you haven't? Oh, let me show you a little clip from it. Oh my God, this is really cool. It's a whole movie about how a lot of it's about sound and music for Alzheimer's. Let's see, Live Inside clip. Okay, here we go. Check this out.
Together,
We lost
40
40
pounds
pounds
on
on
Nutrisystem.
Nutrisystem, but I really recommend this partner.
This is a whole movie, by the way.
I have one resident that barely opened her eyes. She didn't respond. As much as I tried, I knew her for 2 years. No matter what I tried, massage wouldn't work, nothing worked. When we got introduced to the iPods and the family told me the things that she liked, it was amazing once we put the iPod on her. She started shaking her feet. She started moving her head. Her son was just amazed. Okay, can we stop? Because now I'm getting all I'm seeing her all over again.
Papa. Hi, Papa.
Huh?
How you doing?
I'm all right. I'm fine. Wait.
Who am I?
I don't know. Wait a minute. I don't know.
Okay, it's Cherry.
How long has he been in the nursing home? Approximately 10 years. He was having seizures, and my mother couldn't handle him at home. Of course, it affected me greatly because he was always, fun-loving, singing, every occasion he would come out with a song, no matter where he was. I remember as a child, he used to walk us down the street, me and my brother, and he would stop and do Singing in the Rain. He would have us jumping and swinging around poles. He was, he was good. He was always into music, always loved singing, dancing.
His name is Henry Dreyer.
Uh-huh.
And I'm looking more or less for religious music for him.
Okay.
Because he enjoys music and he always quoting the Bible. So I'd rather have that for him.
We first see Henry inert, maybe depressed, unresponsive, and almost unalive.
Henry.
Yeah?
Henry.
Yes, sir.
I found your music. You want your music now?
What do you want me?
Let's try your music, okay? And then you tell me if it's too loud or not.
Then he is given an iPod containing, we know, his favorite music. And immediately he lights up. His face assumes expression, his eyes open wide. He starts to sing and to rock and to move his arms, and he's being animated by the music.
And he used to always sit on the unit with his head like this. He didn't really talk to much people. And then when I introduced the music to him, this is his reaction ever since.
The philosopher Kant once called music the quickening art, and Henry is being quickened, he's being brought to life.
Yeah?
I'm going to take the music for 1 second, okay? Just to ask you a few questions. Okay? I'm going to give it back to you.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The effect of this doesn't stop, because when the headphones are taken off, Henry, normally mute and virtually unable to answer the simplest yes or no questions, is quite voluble.
Henry,
Yeah?
do you like the iPod? Do you like the music you're hearing?
Yes.
Tell me about your music.
Well, I don't have one, I mean.
Do you like music?
Yeah, I'm crazy about music. You play beautiful music, beautiful sound. Beautiful.
Did you play music when you were? Did you like music when you were young?
Yes, I went to big dances and things.
What was your favorite music when you were young?
Well, I guess, Cab Calloway was my number one band guy I liked.
What was your favorite Cab Calloway song?
Oh, I'll be home there for Christmas. Oh, you can count and plan on me with plenty of snow, mistletoe, present wrapped around your tree. Ow!
So in some sense, Henry is restored to himself. He has remembered who he is, and he's reacquired his identity for a while through the power of music.
What does music do to you?
Give me the feeling of love. No man. Figure right now the world need to come into music, singing. You got beautiful music here. Beautiful, oh, lovely. And I feel the band of love, the dream. The Lord came to me, made me holy. I'm a holy man. So he gave me this sound. I'll just say, I meet you. Let's see, Rosalie, won't you love me? Rosalie, won't Mercury, sweet guy.
With this beautiful new technology, you can have all the music which is significant for you in something as big as a matchbox or whatever. And I think this may be very, very important in helping to animate, organize, and bring a sense of identity back to people who are out of it. Otherwise, music will bring them back into it, into their own past, their own memories, their own autobiographies.
Don't forget me when you grow
Cool. I have a friend. Oops. I have a friend that was working in Alzheimer's wards, and he would just go in and play piano. And he said that one day he went in and was playing piano, and this guy came and sat down next to him and started having a conversation with him, and then was playing lead piano and everything. He says, and that he was like, total musician. And everybody came over, all the people there, the nurses and stuff came by, and they were like just wide-eyed, open. This guy hadn't spoken in 6 years. Right? So that's the beginning. Hi, Angela. So that's the beginning, is to find the music they loved, right? And then play that for them. But also find other music, sound healing music that could be really effective for them. And, try a whole range of sound healing music. And this could be just like new age music. I mean, anything, but there's a full range of activating music that we have. And there's a lot of people have like different music that could be quite activating, or that, is peaceful. I mean, just try and see if you can find things that are therapeutic for them, and track which ones they like, right? And you could try different slow versus fast tempo, calm versus activated, lyrics versus no lyrics, and time period appropriate, right, for them. Music for different times and different purposes, and just start doing a little survey as to what works for them. Right? What's cool is we're now going to be actually doing online treatments with actual feedback devices where you can actually see what's going on with the person. So if they can get a feedback device, we'll actually be able to see and watch while doing the sound and music for them. So we can, that will lead to very detailed research as to what's good. And, so, okay, let's, based on your type, we're going to give you these 20 songs and see which ones they like, right? Especially effective in the earlier stages when they're more they can communicate better, right? And then the next thing is to find their home note. And what we do there is simply play each of the 12 notes. And I've got sounds that not only include the 12 notes, but the 12 rhythms. Because every rhythm is a note. If you octavize a note down, cut it in half, it's the same note. But if you keep going below 20 hertz, it becomes a rhythm. So I've got each, in fact, I can play a little bit of it for you just to get the idea. And so, and this can be even good for later stages, which we'll talk about, because you can just watch them. And I've done it over Zoom with quite a few people with dementia now. So like here's the note of G with the rhythm of G. Here's A sharp. Here's C. Here's D. And E. And it's pretty easy to tell when you play these rhythms, especially because they're either irritated by them, or you'll get to the one where they kind of go, they bliss out, right? And it's quite effective. And then what you do is you get them a song in their key, which I've got 48 songs, uh, one for every key in delta for sleep, with binaural beats in delta, one for theta, which is just creativity and relaxation, alpha for being present and learning, which is the ideal for dementia, and then beta, which is for thinking and overcoming ADD, which is also really good as well. But it's tuned to them. It's tuned to them, so it's really effective. So I'm really excited to start tracking exactly how effective this is for different people. So finding their note, key, and rhythm, and that's and then there's the brain CD. I've got these cymatic CDs. I'll show you. Healing Center. That the brain CD. There's one woman in our class, and her mom had advanced dementia, and every time she played this CD for her, there was one song on there, which I don't remember which one it is. She would wake up, and it's not music. It's actually just frequencies. So it sounds something like this, if we can hear this. Oh, yeah. Right? So they're just frequencies. And so we haven't tried it on a lot of people, but just the fact that her mom woke up was really major. So that's worth a try there. And it's actually, if you scroll down here on this site, you'll find it. There it is, the brain CD. Seems like it was cerebellum that did it. Okay. So that's another possibility. And then play all of the instruments, right? And see what they like. Do they like crystal bowls? They might be totally annoyed by crystal bowls. Do they like drumming? Do they like body percussion, right? To do body percussion on themselves. So go through all the instruments, but then here's the most important thing in the earlier stages is to get them to play the instruments. So this dementia company is buying like every instrument we have, right? Everything from a gong to drums and sansulas and free note, which is a little xylophone, and all these different instruments that are really easy to play. And then let them play them and see, because playing an instrument is the best for activating the brain. Right? In the earlier stages, they could totally do it. Drumming is one of the easiest. I mean, they could just do drumming on their lap, right? Left, right, left, right is really, really good for the brain, right? Left and right, because that accesses the left and right brain. And again, track in detail, track exactly what they like, right? And so then when they get into the later stages, you know exactly what to use. You could just play different instruments, wide a range of music and instruments and everything, and just watch, right? And you'll see what they like. Also, when you're playing the drum, really notice what tempo seems to match their rhythm. Play a little faster. Bub, 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 right? And go through different tempos. Start really slow, and then over 5 minutes, speed up more and more, and just notice what tempo. You can often see by the way they move or rock, what tempo is good for them, right? And just intuitively find a tempo that seems to be theirs. It's really, we're doing the same thing as finding their home note, but you're just watching them instead of actually playing notes. That can be really good. We do that with the babies in the Montessori schools. We watch their movement and then actually do rhythms to them, right? To their natural movement. You could totally put things on the body. So you can do tuning forks on the body to get them present, maybe tuning forks on the feet, maybe the bottom of the feet, right? Tie it on their hand, try it in different places. And it would be really interesting to see if you know any acupuncture. You could do it on acupuncture points. I mean, you could do the liver here, right? You could do all the different ones, kidney one on the bottom of the feet, but just do it on any part of the body. And if they're not awake, they'll look down and go, whoa, so get them in their body. But also the sound table and the sound lounge, if they're not too sensitive, you have to really be careful because they can be too fragile and it can be way too much. So you really have to start with very low vibration and very low volume and test it on them and see if it works. We also have the dolphin and the pillow, which are much cheaper, and they can just hold it, because getting them in their body with vibration could even be a big or a Tibetan bowl you put on them, right? I mean, if they're open to it, you could even place a small crystal bowl on them, right? You have to be really careful with that, though. We have the base belt you can strap on if they got pain, but it will also get vibration in their body. But tuning forks are simple, right? Then this is really cool to do voice work. Although most people, if you say, make the sound of how you're feeling, will look at you like you got two heads and go, are you crazy? Right? So you have to work up to it. And this is really probably one of the most important things you can do that someone mentioned earlier, is to teach them nonverbal communication. If you can do it in the earlier stages, this is the deal. The number one thing that gets them going is call and response. Most will do call and response. Okay, just do a ooh, ooh, right? Ee, bada 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 ba. Oh, bada 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 ba. Wah, wah, ew, ew, ew. Blah, 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 blah. Whoa, right? Just play. Do gibberish. Blah, 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 blah. Call and response is really good because most people will do it. In fact, it's hardly ever seen them not do it. Especially if you're in groups, it's really great because then they don't feel so self-conscious. But it's quite good. So you just do call and response a lot until they totally get comfortable making all weird sounds. And then you start working on emotions. Oh, let me send you love. Right? You're sad. Right? You're angry. Frustrated. Right? And so you do call and response and go through all the different emotions. And you work up to finally where you go, oh, how are you doing today? And they go, I'm wrong. And then when they get into later stages, they don't need to use language anymore. I had one of the workers who was at the dementia ward, and he said, yeah, George, he just mumbles a lot. And last week, I mumbled back to him, and we had a really great conversation. Connection, right? It's the whole deal. Creating connection and not having to use words. So that's like really cool to just have them hum their name. There's different humming exercises. You could just do ba, 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 ba. Do the different consonants, do the different vowels. Ooh, oh. And then if you can get them to do body percussion, that's really cool. Just start simple. Lap, chest, lap, chest. Ooh, ah, ooh, ah, pa, da, pa, da. And then do 4. I mean, if they can snap or clap, which they may not be able to do, kids around 3 to 6 can't always do that either. Right? Then you get going like ooh, oh, ah, oh, ooh, oh, ah, oh. Let me show you here. So it's ooh, ooh, oh, ah, oh, ooh, oh, ah, oh, ooh, and then you try this. Go ahead, and then you can do the different consonants. Pa, da, ka, da, pa, da, ka, da, and you can go as slow as you need, right? Ooh, oh, da, oh, ooh, and then if they're into it, then you start speeding up. You know, pa da ka da, pa ka da da, pa ka da ka, pa da ka da, and then you can do is if they are really present, start doing dropouts. Pa da ka, pa ka da, 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 right? You can even do accents. Pa ka da, pa ka da. So you can get pretty complex. So they never get bored, right? Speed up and just go, okay, pa-da-da-da, pa-da-da-da, pa-da-da. They're like, wow. Right? Everybody just starts laughing. So that's really good because it's movement. And we know movement is really good for the brain. And it's rhythm that's simple. And you can even do their name. Now, one thing they've learned is, the memory part of the brain is right next to the part of the brain that does melody. So if you teach them to sing their name, they will often remember it. It's like David, David. So every time you come in, it's like, Angelo, 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 Angelo. Okay, and they get done with start saying it, sing it with you as much as you can. Hi, Angelo, right? So you always include a melody with it. That can be very cool. Right? And you can do that with other things for them to remember as well. Okay. So those are the main aspects that we've come up with for dementia. The next stage, which is going to, there's one other thing I don't have down here, and that is 40 hertz. There's been some detailed research by some people, I think at MIT, on 40 hertz, not only with sound, but with flickering light that's flashing 40 times a second. And it's, detailed research, right? And so first they wondering whether they could tolerate it, and they found they could tolerate it. And they said after they did it, they played the flashing lights and did the sound, and they did actual microcurrents as well. The MRI brain scans after 8 weeks of daily flickers suggested a strengthening of connectivity between 2 nodes of the brain's default mode network, which is involved as self-referential thought processes. So it was modifying their immune system. So this is really worth trying. So they use transcranial electrical and magnetic stimulation with those frequencies. We can have very good that they want to do more studies. Okay, yeah. So it's really worth trying. 40 hertz. You can just go to onlinetonegenerator.com and put in 40 hertz, and there you go. There's 40 hertz. But let's see. I don't know if there's any flashing lights. Let's see. Flashing. Oh, I bet you there's a YouTube video. Flashing 40 hertz. Let's see. Let's see. There we go. Got it. An hour of it. Look at that. Doesn't sound like 40 hertz though. What I just played was 40 hertz. What a trip, huh? Yeah, it doesn't sound like 40 hertz. Let's see about this one.
This is a healthy sleeping posture. Your neck is supported and your airways are open. You breathe easy.
Okay guys, this is just a little project I'm doing. Right.
Yeah, that's not good. That's interesting, but it's not for people. Yeah, so you could try that. You know, right there. Huh. Wow. Cool. Any comments or questions or thoughts?
David, I have a question about the 40 hertz.
Uh-huh.
Was the study done specifically with light and sound, or can you just use sound with that?
You could just use sound, but I think they were doing light in the actual study.
Okay.
Although on this article, they're talking about actually sound and electromagnetics. So they were even using electromagnetics on the body.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, infrared light is supposed to be really good because it goes into the brain. Better than just LEDs. I bet you could, if you search, I bet you could find devices like that. Although, you know, what is it about 40 hertz? I mean, is it an archetypal frequency of God, right? Which is different than tuning it to the person, right? But because I bet if you took around 40 hertz and then tuned it right to that person, you know, which is what we did by, you know, playing the 12 rhythms, I bet you it's going to be better. But there might be an archetype, just like the Schumann resonance is not anyone's frequency, but it's good for everyone. It's good for the heart for everyone. That's another thing that would be worth trying, is to play the Schumann resonance, which is Earth's, the frequency that's in the atmosphere all the time, right? So here's the Schumann resonance. Here. It's like whoa, 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 whoa. So that would be worth trying because that's an archetypal frequency that we all need and it's really good for the body. I would really try that. Also, the other thing that I would try just occurred to me, nature sounds, right? So here I've got waves and actually not just waves, but rain and rivers and streams and all of these with golden mean frequencies popping up. So I've got the frequency of the Earth, 136.102, and I multiply that by 1.618, and that frequency by 1.618, and that one by 1.618. So I have all these golden mean frequency tone generators underneath the waves. Check it out. It's kind of amazing that there's zero research on all of this. All the things we're talking about could be dramatically effective, right? And there's like none, right? Maybe there's somebody done something, but I haven't seen anything. And with, even just 6 months of research, we could get this way more refined and see what really works. Because I bet there's really high potential. Now, the biggest thing that is really where we're headed is a lot of people say that it is plaque that actually builds up in the brain, and that's what causes dementia, right? It's not perfectly definitive, but it's one of the main ideas people have. Well, we could find the frequency that will melt that plaque. This is not rocket science. We just go up and down in frequency and on some plaque and see what actually breaks it up. And this could be like a cure, because everything we're talking about before is not really a cure. I think actually, though, probably the brainwave entrainment is has the highest potential, because if you can get your brain back to that natural rhythm of the person, that's practically, I would think that would be a cure. But otherwise, most of these are just creating stable, consistent vibrations, which help a bit, I'm sure, but it's not. I don't imagine that any of this is going to reverse it yet. That's what I got here. Oh, challenge the brain. I think it'd be really cool to get them doing drums. Like, just give them a big hand drum, set it in their lap, and go bop, 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 right? If you can get them to do that. I mean, left and right movement is the best. It works the brain left and right. Movement at all, I mean, that's just excellent. We'll see. It'd be totally cool to see if they like gongs. So, could be too much for them, but some gongs could be really, I mean, some people might really like gongs. Okay. Anything you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, just the gong playing, I think it depends on also the technique that you're playing. That you can play softly so that you don't, obviously bring the nervous system in like a state of panic. Even I have sort of like learned two different techniques now, and the softer variation, is gentler, and it isn't like boom and you go into,
Yeah, okay, yeah. No banging. Banging the gong should be against the law. You should go to jail for banging the gong, right? Always build up.
And a question, just sort of a thought, people sort of talk about stimulating the vagus nerve. Is there any research in connection with dementia or Alzheimer's?
I don't know about, I mean, it's just basically calming. And there's, the basic, in the last year, I've had 3 presenters in our conference do presentations on the vagus nerve, and John Stuart Reid put out a whole paper on the vagus nerve, so I'm including it in the new version of my book. It's mostly just resonating sound into chambers in the body that trigger the vagus nerve. It seems to be like this really interesting idea, but I mean, it's the main thing is watching for sounds and vibrations that don't trigger a fear response. Because when you're do any sound, any rhythm that feels good, that's triggering the vagus sympathetic response, right? And that's pretty basic, right? When you really get down to it. I mean, there's some people that are using electromagnetism and electrodes right on the ear to actually go into the vagus nerve, but I don't think they know what frequencies are the best, right? And it's the obvious one that would be the best is the one of your nervous system, which is exactly this, where you're actually finding their rhythm, right? Uh, like we were just talking about, of their brain, because the nervous system is the brain, right? So that would be the deal, is to find their rhythm with those 12 notes and then actually play it electromagnetically. And you can play it on the right ear is supposed to be better than the left ear for, oh, actually, no. It's funny. Actually, Don Estes was saying the right ear actually goes to the heart. So he actually, you have to be careful with that one. He said to use the left ear if you're going to actually attach electrodes to the body. There are devices you can buy for vagus nerve stimulation with electrodes, right? But the truth is, I don't trust them. I don't think, I mean, it's so interesting. It's like you start talking to these people and it's like, what about tuning it to them? And they're like, what? Right? And that seems so basic, so important, but based on the research of Jeffrey Thompson, you've got to tune it to them or you're going to throw them off rhythmically, right? You want to tune it to their nervous system, right? So yeah, I mean, basically, the research that John Stuart Reid said that any chamber in the body, when it's vibrated, triggers the vagus nerve. So it's like, that's any sound. I mean, that's everything, right? As long as it's not, edgy and people are reacting to it, any sound is going to vibrate, especially vibroacoustics, like sound tables. So sound tables could be huge, but just got to be really careful with them because people that are fragile often can't handle them.
So, can I ask one question?
Mm-hmm.
So, what about the dance to the music?
Yeah,
What
well, movement.
stimulates the vagus? Because I was thinking it's not so much about the dancing for people with dementia or Alzheimer's.
Yeah, I mean, any movement is the deal, right? That's why I was saying the drums would be good. But I think dance is the best. If you can get them to do dance, I mean, I can't imagine anything better. Dance to music they love. I mean, I can't imagine anything better than that, right?
I mean, I can just repeat what I said earlier. As my mom was a ballet dancer, she's got the body memory and there's a way of expressing. And even the doctors have actually contacted my sister just to tell her how they can really see that is a huge benefit to my mom at the moment. And she even starts in the appointments to talk about it. So she's got like something to look forward to, somewhere to go to. And this is a very familiar place to her as well. So I'm super grateful that my sister is taking this time and once a week does a class with her or as often as she can. And yeah, definitely the dance and then the right music with it, I think is also important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. If you can find, it should be easy to find the music they loved, right? I mean, just yeah. I mean, ultimately, you could actually even play songs that are in their tempo, if if you can, if they like them. Actually, once you find their tempo and their rhythm, you can actually you can actually go online and search for the key of hit songs in different keys. Let me show you. Hit songs, key of hit songs. There's a list. Huh, that's interesting. A minor and E minor. A C major and G major are the most common for hit songs. List of popular songs by key. Right? That's interesting, huh? Be interesting if that were. The only problem is the rhythm of these songs may not be in the same key as the key of the song. It's nice to have the rhythm be synchronized. The sounds I played for you earlier, the tone was the same key note, same note as the actual rhythm. A lot of people don't realize rhythms are notes. Octavize it down, it becomes a rhythm.
How can you find out rhythms with people, David? How can you do that?
Oh, just play each of the 12 notes. Did you hear the example I played earlier?
I couldn't hear it on my computer with the speakers. It wasn't
Oh yeah,
within.
you gotta have headphones. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just a wah 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 wah
Okay.
wah, right? And you just simply play each of the 12 and see which one they're the most peaceful at.
Mm.
Often they know. If they're awake, they will know. And if they're not, I've done it with a ton of people. I've done it with kids with autism, and it's like, you can see because they're kind of irritating. Those whoa 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 whoa, and but when you hit their rhythm, they just relax and they get comfortable, right? So it's often when they're really fragile, it's actually way easier to find it because you can see they're kind of like and then you get their note and they're like, and they almost go to sleep.
Can you play them with the tone generator? Can you find the rhythm with that?
Well, it's pretty. Uh, the tone generators don't play rhythms.
Okay.
They play tones.
Yeah.
So you'd have to create a binaural beat to do it, and then you have
Okay.
to do all the math to actually figure out what would be in tune. And that's what I've done.
I got it.
Yeah, so it's yeah. I mean, I
Are there,
sell this set also.
yeah, I was going to say, are they available on the website?
No, it's not on the website. I just actually never thought to sell it. I actually just got it made just a couple of months ago, and so yeah, but we do sell it as well. If you can email me and we'll get you a price and stuff. Okay. Any other thoughts or questions about dementia?